Unlike the NBA or the NFL, MLB has struggled to find a guy in their league even the non-average fan knows. Everyone knows LeBron James plays basketball and Tom Brady plays football, but baseball is a different story and hasn't had that type of recognizable figure since arguably Derek Jeter. Then, Fernando Tatis Jr. exploded onto the scene out of nowhere, and he was the perfect guy to become the face of the league, but his recent suspension has left MLB in an identity crisis after putting tons of effort into promoting him. Over the last decade or so, Major League Baseball has struggled to find a face of the league to promote and grow the game. Mike Trout is arguably the greatest baseball player the game has ever seen, but never wanted to nor embraced the marketing side off the field. There have been guys in recent years like Bryce Harper, Mookie Betts, and Aaron Judge who are all superstar players in their own right, but none have moved the needle to grow the game. Tatis Jr., however, did that, and he was the perfect guy given his physical skills, charisma, age, and most importantly, his connection to the international market being a native of the Dominican Republic. The five-tool superstar was a human highlight reel on a nightly basis and an outlier to the way the game of baseball was played. There is no doubt, watching baseball isn't for everyone. It's slow-paced, methodical, and not as action-packed as a sport like football or even basketball, but Tatis Jr. changed that. Whether it was his crazy bat flips, insane catches in the field, or swinging 3-0 while up 8 runs in a game, Tatis Jr. was playing a style of baseball and bringing a type of energy captivating to non-baseball fans, and for the sport to grow, that's a player the league needed. It didn't take long for Fernando to become one of the most popular players in the game, and Major League Baseball recognized that and began investing in him. He was named the cover athlete for MLB The Show 21, featured in multiple commercials put out by Adidas and Dairy Queen, and joined Derek Jeter and Bryce Harper as the only ballplayers used as the sole focus of a national ad campaign from longtime MLB partner Gatorade. Everything was great. MLB finally had its face of the league, but that changed very quickly when the league announced on Friday night Tatis Jr. would be suspended for 80 games after testing positive for steroids. Whether his suspension was for recovery purposes, ringworm as his mother said, or he was just flat out juicing, it doesn't justify the move, and the suspension affects MLB's plans to market him now and in the future. It's very unlikely that baseball promotes a player suspended for steroids, and appears they will need to find a new face of the league, so with that, are there even adequate options? The obvious choice is Shohei Ohtani, who is must-watch TV, as not only does he pitch, but hit as well and is elite at both. He's an international superstar, but there could be issues that utilize him since he doesn't speak fluent English as of now, which is tough for an American-based sport. Then there's Tatis Jr.'s new teammate Juan Soto, who's one of the premier hitters in the sport right now and is only 23 years old, and the Padres are one of the most fun teams to watch and best teams in baseball. The league could also look into a player like Ronald Acuna Jr. or a player that's been in the spotlight before like Mookie Betts, who plays in the biggest market and for the best team in baseball and is a five-tool talent and former MVP winner. None of the choices above are bad answers, but for me, the sleeper choice and potentially best answer going forward is Seattle Mariners outfielder Julio Rodriguez. Rodriguez debuted this year and displayed his talents at this year's Home Run Derby by giving a glimpse of how special of a player he will be. He's also oddly similar to Tatis Jr. Both are natives of the Dominican Republic, both stand 6'3" and are five-tool superstars who play with that type of energy and charisma baseball needs. On top of that, Rodriguez is only 21 years old, and Seattle's an up-and-coming team who happens to be hosting the All-Star Game next year and could end the longest playoff drought in North American sports thanks to Julio Rodriguez. To wrap it up, baseball could go in many different directions, whether they use one player as the face of the league or a multitude of guys. Whatever route MLB decides to go into, though, it needs to be done properly and efficiently because the sport has too much talent in the game right now for it to be dying.